Hello, welcome to Truth Runs Deep podcast. I'm Terryn,
I'm Kalli.
and we're here to talk about all things Law and Order, SV, the Mothership, SVU, organized crime, whenever it happens,
Eventually,
fanfic writing,
eventually, when it
and
gets then
eventually more.
and
Yeah,
and
we're
last
back. Hold on, I was
well,
checking to see at the time of
we're
this
recording this
recording, was our
on
video out?
we're
I'm checking
recording this
something.
literally on Friday. So last night's episodes were awesome,
Yeah,
and we
yes, and
got
as of right now, our new video is out. So
go watch. We talk about
go
we
watch
do
our
the
new our
Reddit
Reddit
space.
video of Am I the Asshole is out. So go watch it. It's very funny. Actually, some of it's not funny, some of it's really sad. But you can judge for yourself. But you can go watch it.
And so
I gotta
last
make a
night's
new thumbnail for it. I don't
episodes
like the one I made, but that's like
we got double the Olivia. So I of course had to do double the
we
Olivia.
did.
Wait,
Yeah.
like this thing is
It
so
was
big in
such a good. These
the day.
episodes are
What would Olivia Benson do? And then underneath, I got the
yeah.
queen.
I had my Olivia clothes
No.
on,
I
so I do not have Law and Order on today.
did I like literally and
Hold on.
I literally all prepared.
I had the wrong account. I have so many Google accounts. I need to find
I'm
the
freaking guys.
podcast on.
Going
Okay.
inside.
Or notes. Notes. No, these episodes are really, really good. Like we have to like go. We're like, we gotta go ahead and do this. So we're gonna.
We know it's only the second
Yep,
episodes of each season, but they were really good.
they were good. They were
I'm
good.
going
So we're gonna talk
sorry,
about them.
it's all in New England and I'm freezing, so we're going inside.
It's not cold in Alabama, but I just like to wear a hoodie. But we'll save show news until after the SVU. I mean, I guess after, yeah, because it relates to SVU next week, and it doesn't make sense to talk about it right now. So we're gonna save show news until the end. This time said at the beginning because it
Okay,
makes more sense to do that then.
first was the mothership, which is like the first
The
time I think
Perfect Man.
a majority of people actually excited for it. They
I know
did. They
you.
only get people. Some people only give it a chance
It's,
when Marishka's on it, and they need to give it a chance otherwise because it's good.
yeah, it's pretty good. It is good. I have a snack, but that's okay.
I'm gonna go eat after. Okay, so yeah,
But
the
yes, because we had two guest stars, but we'll get to that later. Go
we
ahead.
will, we will, we
Yeah,
will.
not one, but two guest stars.
So the episode is called "The Perfect Man."
Yep. Ironically, but you'll find out later why.
Yeah.
That's quite ironic
And,
why it's
like
called
funny
Perfect Man.
enough, McCloud
But
started like posting like pictures of himself, and he's like, "No, in reality, this is actually what I look like." It was funny. I'm like, okay, you go, sir. Whatever. So we start, and this rich guy is at a coffee shop, and he's asking this barista
the
what she
waitress or whoever, I guess,
of
or worse.
the this bouquet of roses, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna ask you because you look both charming and I think he said something about like I don't know."
I don't know.
Single, and she's like, that is equally the most charming and insulting thing anybody's ever said to me.
I mean, he's like asking her opinion about these roses. But also, if you look at the laptop screen, these roses cost $480.
Why the frick do roses cost that much? It's a damn flower. I can find it
I
outside.
said because I was like paying attention and I was looking at I saw on the laptop the price tag and I said, oh,
I could watch this. I could
four
get it
hundred eighty
outside. Like,
dollars
they don't need to be that freaking expensive.
exactly.
Anyway, the barista's like,
Like
yeah, she'll
we're
like
all
them.
for nice things, but $480 for flowers is a little crazy because flowers don't last forever.
If he buys the flowers and then he writes a little note that says, I know you don't think you deserve love, but you do. And then he leaves and he goes to Central Park or a park. Um,
At park,
he
one of the many parks in New York,
one
one
of
of
the
them.
many parks in New York. Yep. He sees a girl. He
Okay,
smiles,
big smile,
and then
cheesecake pudding,
literally that's it.
dead.
Dead. The next scene is him literally laying on the ground. He got shot in the eye.
Mm.
directly in the eye,
God,
like,
yeah, dead.
okay, damn.
Mhm.
And while,
It goes to the opening credits here.
credits and everybody looks badass, and then while Shaw and Riley are looking overseeing the crime scene, they have the cast list going by, and it says special guest star.
Yeah, then
Rich
the guest
Argyle.
list.
Yay! And special and Elizabeth Marvel's name pops up. We have not seen her in
Really?
so long. She's back. Rita's
So
back.
excited for Rita. We were so excited.
True.
Rita's back. Yes, it was very exciting.
So they find out who the kind of found out who the guy is.
So
And
we'll see her later, but still, that was
so
exciting.
they're trying to figure out who this guy is. And the only thing they have on him is a receipt of the cafe that he was at a few days ago. So they go to talk to the barista, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Tyler Miller, one of our regulars, sits in that spot every day, gets his order, oatmeal." And Riley's like, "Oh, that doesn't sound too weird. Like, why do you remember it?" And then she continues and says, "Oatmeal with poached egg and cinnamon on top." He's like, "That does it. That does. It's weird.
Bro.
It's weird."
I can only eat scrambled eggs. I have a thing about eggs. I only like scrambled. If there's any kind of different texture, I can't do it. So
It's weird. I'm like the opposite. I don't like scrambled eggs. I prefer others. But I definitely would not put an egg and cinnamon on top of oatmeal.
No.
So yeah, once they find out what his name is, they go do more research into him. They find out he has made an app that is known as an enigmatic love interest, or
love interest, or
Eli for short.
Eli.
Which everybody thought was hysterical. That they put Olivia on an episode with the name Eli, and I was like, okay, it's kind of funny. And
He
he's
is the perfect
basically
man.
an AI dating like app simulation person, the perfect man.
Yeah. And these are this is something they did based off of, like, the AI dating is very real. There's a video I watched about it a couple weeks ago by what is his channel? His hold on. This guy makes a really good video on it. Because I think it's very fast. Visual Adventure. He makes a lot of like videos about like different topics online, but he makes a really good video about the history of AI dating and how like it's not very ethical. And then you get into the lines of like, can AI consent? And then it kind of just goes down this spiral of lots of things. So
a lot.
Like a lot of AI was created to like AI people were created to like help people. The first like AI kind of, this is my off tangent because I watched a video about it, but was really created to help people grieve people who had died initially, and then it kind of went from like talking to your dead loved ones to lovers, and then it kind of went. So that's kind of where it started. If you were curious, check Visual Adventure has a really video on it.
So there's
so
a lot of people who think Eli's great. Shaw and Riley are like, what the heck is this? And apparently there are other people that agree with him, because then they go back to the precinct and they're literally listening to 911 calls that sound realistic as frick, but they're fake, and somebody made them so it would sound like Tyler was quite literally pew-pewing in his workplace because they wanted him arrested.
Yeah, it's like that's pretty crazy, literally.
They then go see the guy who Tyler got the Eli code from, and the guy's like, "This isn't what it was supposed to be for. Like, it was supposed to be like general companionship," and he like basically took it over and turned it into this crazy shit. And the guy's like, "Oh, so you want?" They're like, "Oh, so you wanted to kill him?" And he's like, "No, just still angry," because they basically said, the guy said Tyler was down the deep hole in AI love,
Yeah, it's like
dude.
oh damn.
Then they find out there was another guy
Or like
who tried to
yeah, there's no because it's never the first guy. It's never the first person, you
never
know,
the
or the
first guy,
second person, you third
usually.
person. But you know,
And then they try to talk to another guy who they found out who like made threats against Tyler. And honestly, this dude has a legit reason.
and I was like,
Like legit when they
like I can
showed
see your point here.
the guy's like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I don't like Tyler Miller. And they're like, why? And he's like, because my wife left
Come
me
on.
for this app. And they're
Well, his
like,
fiance. I think it's his fiance.
once I
His
left him for this
fiance left him for the app. We go.
it's like, what?
Look, AI
Um,
could be perfect,
they
but you
li-
cannot. You're
literally
like,
they bring him back to the bureau, the precinct, and they have Lieutenant Brady like talking to the fiance about it. And he's like, yeah, my wife got this app and it basically changed her. Like literally, she became obsessed
his
with it.
fiance, not wife.
I keep thinking it's
Yeah,
wife. Anyway, it's fiance. His fiance literally
it's
became obsessed.
fiance.
Um, it was like all she did, and the guy's like, I couldn't even like compete with it. It was
All she ever talked to? She talked to
crazy.
him. He's perfect. You know.
And then they're like, okay, why didn't you just turn it off so your wife wouldn't
Turn
keep
it
looking?
off. You know.
And he's like, you can't. They're like, what do you
He's like,
mean
you
you can't?
can't.
It's
It
like
pops up everywhere.
it's like you can try to shut it off, but then the Eli
It's
will be like, how could I be a better boyfriend to you? Kind of creepy shit. And then if
exactly.
you
You
show
can't.
and if you like
You'll see
get
it on a
rid of
different app. You try to
app,
do it. You'll see it advertised on a different app, or and you're like,
yeah, if you try to get rid
here's
of the
what
app,
we
it'll show up on like Snapchat or TikTok. So basically it's become a freaking stalker.
yeah.
You can't get
It
away
is
from
because
it.
there's a whole side story. This is another real life incident. This because it kind of relates to real life about this about how like uh AI has told people to do things that are illegal. Uh, so
I'm not
like it's questionable about like how ethical because there's a whole thing about like a young not a young girl maybe a teenager was using the Snapchat has an AI person you could talk to and this Snapchat AI told her to do things that weren't good. I don't remember specifically what it was, but it's probably something you can't find on YouTube anyway. But I don't remember what it was specifically. But then the mom saw it, and then like a whole headline story broke about like AI. So like that's something also interesting to look into. But yeah, it will don't be talking too much to AI. You're giving her
yeah, so the
information or
mom's like,
something.
he's
Yeah.
mad. He's like, no, I wouldn't kill him. They're like, why? He's like, I didn't have the guts to. It's like,
Well,
okay,
you know what been
be honest. Then they find out that Tyler's phone is turned back on, so they are going to
still
it.
on record. Like,
Um, and literally as they're looking at it, like they're literally like in this like giant abandoned theater building or something. And
yeah, yeah.
while Shaw finds the phone, he immediately gets attacked by a guy,
And they're like,
literally
oh,
slammed into the wall. And um Riley hears it and he goes back up. And one of them's like, man, you went after the wrong guy. Because Shaw's literally got him on the
exactly.
ground, handcuffing him.
I know. And he's handcuffing him already. And when Riley walks in, you're like, oh, he's got it. He's got
Yeah,
it.
he's good. He's good. Yeah. Um, they're like, okay, dude, how'd you get the phone? And he's like, they're like, look, we don't want to bust
I
you.
bought
Just
it
tell
off
us you
somebody.
got the damn phone. And he basically says he
Yeah, exactly.
took it as like a barter, a trade for illicit
Yeah,
substances.
for illicit substances
Somebody
that
wanted
are in a small plastic bag. Okay,
somebody
that's all you.
wanted illicit substances from him. They didn't have money, so he took the phone. He was going to sell it for $20.
And they changed it.
And the cops are literally
20 bucks
looking
crazy
at
for
him.
an iPhone. But anyway,
And he goes, I'm not the. Oh, no, that's a different one. He's like, what? I'm
yeah,
not good. I'm like, I can't. I was going to only sell it for $20. Like, I can't say I'm good. And they traded the phone for
I gotta get something for myself.
a package of illicit substances with the brand of like a pair of snake eye dice. So now they have to go find somebody who gives the eye dice.
Yeah, they go find who this company who's selling this illicit
They
substance is.
literally go to this bridge, under this bridge, in bulletproof vests, police, like literally across. Which I think was
because it's a hangout of people who are using illicit substances where
I
they
think that
kind of
was
offer.
stupid. I feel like they should have showed up in freaking hoodies.
They were
and
probably
like,
in there.
Yo, where do I find
Look
this
more
guy?
casual, you know. People are gonna run from the coppers. They're gonna run from the cops. They
So all these people were like too high.
You know, it wasn't. They didn't care.
They didn't
But you
care.
know,
But it's like, I'm
it wasn't.
sorry. You literally thought it was a good idea to just walk up in freaking bulletproof vests with NYPD blasted everywhere.
Yeah. They're not gonna talk to you. They're not gonna talk to you.
No,
Even if they weren't on a list.
Finds this guy, and he finds the little bag with the dice below him. And Shaw's like, "Look, I'm not gonna bust you. Just where can I get this?"
You gotta talk. We just gotta talk about it.
And he's like, he's like slowly moving his eyes up, and we see a guy behind him, and then Shaw's like, "Oh, you must be Scratch." And Scratch tries to run.
Yeah,
doesn't get very far. Riley literally catches him in like 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, look, man, we need to talk." And he's like, "Look, I hate the Pope, bro."
Exactly. It's like,
I still drop this. I buy illicit substances, excuse me.
Yeah, you two would get mad if you talk about what's music was it?
And they're like, "Okay, where'd you get the phone from?" They're like, he's like, "It was a lady." And they're like, "Oh, a lady did this." So they go back to the precinct, and they find footage of the woman who literally had the phone and then threw the murder weapon.
The street cams had
in the
dumpster.
And they're like, "Okay, now we gotta figure out how to go get this girl. Oh, I guess we'll go canvas." And Brady is like, "Nah, just run it through the local." And Riley's
remember this for later, okay? This is very important. Dixon wouldn't do that.
Riley's like, Dixon didn't.
Like, I'm not Dixon
doing that, and then
doing that. Like, and you'll figure out why.
A defense attorney's like, they say you if a defense attorney sees that you did that, they will tear your case to shreds. Because
it's not ethical to but you'll find out why this is not ethical in a minute. They'll talk about why this is not ethical.
And Brady's like, "I am not Dixon. I don't care.
I'm not Dixon."
And they're like, they kind of like look
sorry, I had to be honest for a second.
Okay.
They're like,
so then they run the data and they find her in the local. Her name is Laura Kingsbury. They go to arrest her at her job, and she doesn't even try to like hide it. She's like, puts out her hand.
She's like,
"You need in front of it." They're both like, back. She didn't think anything of it. And Brady is like interrogating her and is like, "Okay, we know what you did. We know when you did it. What we don't know is why."
Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah,
it was
I want a lawyer." And then Price shows up. And they're like,
she lawyered up fast.
They walk back into Jessica's office, and then all of a sudden they hear, "Jess, Nolan." First off, first names. Second, nickname. Meaning they know each other. Give me the history. And that person who was giving the names is the queen. Olivia shows up. Hooray!
Yes.
And she's like,
yep. And you're like,
what are you doing here? And she's like, "Oh, I got a call from Laura Kingsbury's mother last night that her daughter was arrested." They're like, what? And then Olivia goes on to be like, Laura was a victim of a brutal rape a year ago. No one would listen to her or take her
Yep.
report. And they're like, okay. And she goes on and says the only reason that her DNA was even in the local database was because of her rape kit.
Yeah.
So they found
which
this
is
girl,
why it wasn't ethical for them to use the local database.
and they have done something like this on SVU, but not on the mothership. That it's pretty much the way they find out this girl could commit a crime was they took her DNA from
the DNA from her kit to compare it to the murder weapon, which isn't ethical. It teeters the line of ethical because.
So Olivia and Brady are going back and forth, and no one's kind of just standing there like,
yeah, in the middle. You're like,
did he say anything? No, you don't. Well, he did. Yeah, literally, they're going back and forth. And Olivia's like, it's not ethical to use this database because it makes them massive victims, and it pretty much gives them another reason to refuse a rape kit when that might be the only way we're going to be able to find justice for them. And Jessica's like, I don't know. She's like, I get that, but we needed it. And Nolan like clears his throat. Like, talking again. It's like, dude did not want to interact with them.
Yeah. No, because they're like, not quite.
And then fine, Olivia's like, okay, you found the data, but I'm going to put in a motion to suppress it. And they're like, now we got shit happening. And then Rita shows up.
Yeah, and of course she has to get. I feel like Olivia was the one who was like, I gotta get this girl.
I feel like one of the best. We don't really know like how she showed up. She kind of just the next scene was.
Yeah, she just shows up. They didn't put it in. She's just there reading her opening argument.
And she got a haircut. She now has a bob, and she's now blonde.
And it's her. Yeah, man, it's more blonde. She's a bit more blonde than she was. It has been like 5 years since we've seen her. No, not that long. Yeah. Oh, it has been. It's been since season 21 when I think the episode was swimming with the sharks.
Yeah,
season 21 of SVU. So we're like I've seen her like 5 years.
Yeah, she got to glow. Lady got to glow up. Wait, didn't it get?
Where did? Yeah, but the DNA stays in them. The judge agrees that they have to keep the DNA in.
Yeah, Sam makes a point of like, who's scared of their DNA being found? Criminals. And like, look, I get it, but I'm like wondering if anybody told her how they actually got the freaking data because knowing Sam's
because she didn't seem to be on the side of it. She wouldn't have been on the side.
Sam's background, if she knew it came from this girl's rape kit, she would probably be on Olivia's side.
Yeah,
so
but I feel
like they just didn't tell
her. The DNA stays in. They do start the trial.
Laura brought the gun with her.
She bought the gun with it's illegally purchased because she bought it with her mom's address. Makes it illegal purchase.
Unfortunately.
And then because no one's cross-examining her about like, you bought this gun illegally, you knew what you were doing, you chose to go do this, and then he sits down, it's time to time for the defense, and Rita gets up to Captain Olivia Benson to the stand.
He's like shit.
And he's like, wait, Chambers, please, we need to talk about this.
Because here's the thing, I realized this afterwards, because you see the two like kind of like on opposing sides, but here's the thing. They both so strongly believe in the jobs that they're doing. It is going to cause them to butt heads.
Yeah.
Literally,
that's the thing about like this kind of thing.
They both want to be on the side of justice. It's just they don't have the same view of what justice is in this situation.
This is yes.
Literally, is like Nolan's like, oh shit, I'm gonna cross-examine Olivia Benson.
Yeah.
Or you're just literally sitting there while she's talking.
She's ready.
Oh. We
Like,
then find out that
she's
Olivia the defense has claimed that Tyler was stalking her.
Mhm.
And she tries to talk about her point of view, and no one's like, she can't talk about her headspace.
About
Like,
something she doesn't know about. She's like, I think I can.
And then Rita goes on to be like, Captain Benson is a globally recognized figure in this field. I was like,
literally global. You know, she was talking to people in Italy. You know, globally recognized.
Globally
She types
recognized.
Italian. You know, the whole part.
This
That's
is
Leah's
literally
claim.
what she does for a living, and the defense is like, I'll allow it. She could be an expert in this.
How many people have you? How many people have you talked to? She says nearly. She's like,
Yeah,
she kind
no
of takes
one-
a moment to like calculate a number because it's like,
because
it's hard to probably count how many.
I would have been like,
She says it's nearly 10.
too many.
I
I would have just
can't
said
count.
too many.
She says nearly 10,000 in her
Rita's like,
almost
you've been caught
30 if she counts, you know, being
and
not
that's
an
you
SU,
thought for about
nearly 30
years.
years.
How many people have you talked? How many sexual assault victims have you talked to? Nearly 10,000.
She's nearly 10,000. It's like boom. It's like you're like the fence is eating them up at this one, y'all. So,
and literally,
you
she
know.
goes in and she like explains everything that happened to Laura. It was great. Now it's Nolan's turn, and literally the first thing that he says is, "Oh, but how many times do you testify on those victims that are accused of murder?"
Accused of
And Olivia
murder.
goes, "Wow, like this is what we're doing."
And then she kind of was like,
Time for me to freaking checkmate.
Yeah, I said, oh.
Literally, he's going on, and I don't remember all the questions. I just remember that the look on Olivia's face looked like she was about to kill him. Girl was
like, this isn't going well. She was like, even the defense was eating them up. Sorry,
and it's
you
funny,
know.
it's so funny the contrast sometimes because they put out a picture of Mariska and Hugh and Tony and the girl who played Laura, and they're all smiling and laughing, and then we got this, and they literally look like
and Elizabeth's off, yeah. There's and another picture of all of them with Elizabeth, and it's like, y'all are funny.
Yeah.
They have such
it's like, different. So
acting, you guys are beyond like amazing at acting. Like, you know, they were just so having a good time, and it's like, all right, we gotta do this.
Yeah, now I'm gonna pretend I want to freaking strangle you. Yeah, literally, Olivia looks like she's about to kill him. She goes on to describe how basically Laura is in a permanent state of terror all the time after her attack. That when Tyler was
and then this man is stalking her a lot.
She needed to do this for self-defense. And I forget what Nolan says before this, but
she
like,
says
you could see another like switch in Olivia, and her already angry face gets even darker. And she goes, "Do you know how many times
she was not having
killed Laura?" Liv was not literally. Lydia was not doing it. She was going to get this point across to Price if it was the last thing she did.
She's like, "Let me tell you."
And he's like,
he talks about how like
he's like, "Oh,
she
I'm
had
sorry."
been drinking, and the police were just like, "You should have eaten more before you drank." And then
yeah, Nolan's like, "I'm sorry," but she like cuts him off. She's like, the police officer who questioned her she was supposed to trust.
So you should just ate more before you.
Said you should have eaten another slice of pizza to soak up your alcohol before her attack happened.
Like, excuse me? Or like, it was a whole, and there's like another story she tells. I think we were just kind of like soaking it all in. She keeps going. Like, Olivia, like, there's another reason after another reason.
Reason. And then she, like, literally, like, and then she says something about, like, this woman was the R word, but the way she said it was so like
She says it really, really hard. It's like
hard.
if you don't hear anything, you heard this.
You heard that word. Hard, raw, direct, and you could tell when she said it like that, she's like, he doesn't say anything else.
Kind of like
Just
yeah,
walks away. It's like, yeah, I think he finally understands now.
you heard it that time because she was like, okay.
Then the defense continues, and we find out that Tyler was stalking her. Like, oh, Laura's testifying. We find out Tyler was stalking her. She knew where she got her coffee. She knew where she worked out. All these things, and
everything.
he sent 126 handwritten letters to her. And the prosecution is like, we don't know anything about these letters.
We didn't know anything about that either. You know,
we need
we're
to
just pulling everything out the back pocket here. It was like, oh, queen.
For us, it's like we need time to look them over. And so Nolan is looking over all the letters, and he reads ones to Baxter, and it's like something along the lines of like, your eyes are like moonlight, and he's like, these are cringy, not criminal. I'm like,
we looked something out before we go back. Hold on. When Laura's testifying, she says Tyler was the perfect man. Tyler said Tyler has a God complex. He thought he's the perfect man, not Eli. And he had to change her mind because she didn't see him as perfect.
So basically, when she thought
that's something we left out for it.
Work with, she didn't want to do like basically all the stuff Tyler thinks about himself is what he was putting into Eli.
It is with,
and he's like, all these women, all these women think I'm perfect. She doesn't. I had to change her mind.
But she did. But yeah, literally.
Yeah, and so Nolan's bringing the letter, something about eyes being moonlight. And he's like, this is cringy, not criminal. Not even you, Dancy, reading these letters.
Because he doesn't, because there's no threat of violence in these letters that makes them
so bad.
A crime.
But
there's no violence. He just talks about how beautiful she is. It's weird.
Even in a normal relationship, and they said it was like 3 months, maybe. How are you sending anybody 126 letters? It's got to be at least like
you're sending multiple a day.
Exactly, multiple letters a day. That's not no. And so
you're
at this point,
multiple a day.
Terryn and I are both in agreement that Tyler's the bad guy, and this sucks.
Yeah,
but
he wasn't a good person. No,
we still have to do this.
Now it's a did he deserve to die? That's where the ethical.
Did he? Yeah. Did he do crappy things? Yes, but did he deserve to die? I mean, yes, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. And Baxter is like, no one, you're falling into the defense's plan. You gotta come up with a new plan.
You gotta show that this girl like did it on purpose. Not this guy is an ass. Not that this guy is an asshole.
Yeah, you gotta think something else.
We find out that again the gun was illegal. Nolan is then called into Baxter's office, and then there's Olivia standing there in this gorgeous pinstripe outfit.
The pinstripes, bro. Y'all don't understand. They really did something to us, y'all. Like,
pinstripes.
Please let her wear this outfit again. Like, SVU, you better put that one back in the wardrobe. Please, I'm begging.
And Nolan is like, hey, what's going on? And Baxter's like, Captain Benson wants you to offer Laura a deal. He's like, what? And Baxter turns his computer around, and it shows a headline from the New York Post that basically was like,
are you early? You sure? I think you're skipping. You're skipping quite a bit, I think. Hold on.
Oh, shit. I did.
I think you're skipping. You're skipping ahead. I'm like, wait a second, that happened yet.
They're like gay. Offer her.
Laura's back on the stand again. That's where we. Not yet. We haven't offered her a deal yet at that point. I think she's still on. Laura comes back on the stand. She said, Oh no, she's not on the stand. Sorry. She's not on the stand yet. She's talking with her talking to her attorney and Nolan and Olivia and Rita and Laura
trying to get
talking
her
at
to
the
take a
table.
deal because they
That
all after that they're
yeah,
like, yeah, no, I don't want this girl to go to prison.
she did feel bad because Laura does feel bad for doing this, but she did.
And
And
literally
she
like,
says, "No, the police didn't believe me. No one ever believed me."
leave me. And
You're
she's like,
like,
she makes a point to Olivia. She's like, do you know how long it took me to finally gain the courage to take a walk in the park again? And she's
yeah,
like,
but
I
he was
know.
being creepy.
But the most they could do for the deal was like man 10 years.
10, well,
Man
yeah.
10 years.
Man, 1 10 years is what no one offers.
She would not.
And then this is where you're at. And then
And
you're
then
at what you were
Olivia's
talking
like,
about
the
before.
best she'll do
Here,
is
here it
man
is.
5 years. And Nolan's like, no. Like, I get this, but she still
No,
killed
there's a
somebody.
difference between man one and man two.
And then
She meant to
Olivia
do it. Man one's meant to do it.
makes a very good point of Nolan, what is it gonna what how is her sitting in a jail cell
What
going
does it
to
help us
benefit
any to put her in jail
anybody?
doing anything
He's like,
for us?
it's going to benefit the grieving family.
Yeah, that's about it. And
Yeah.
this is where you were earlier about how Olivia
Okay. Then after
allegedly,
this,
there's no proof of this, allegedly
Nolan is called
she
into
leaked it to the
Baxter's
press.
office, and Baxter's like, you need to take the deal. Like, you need to take the deal. And he's like, why? And that's when Baxter turns his computer on, and it's a headline from the New York Post, basically saying how the NYPD found her DNA through the local. And he like looks at Olivia standing in the room. He's like, gee, I wonder how that happened.
Allegedly, she did.
She's like,
But
yeah.
allegedly, they're gonna prove this. But
She's like, yeah, I wonder. Oh, she 100% did it. She doesn't give a shit. She's like,
she did it. But they don't. Yeah, she's like, you know what? We're putting it up.
I didn't have to say it. We knew. Because she's the only one who knew that
Who knew? So yeah, we know she did it. But
now she's like, your move.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I wonder how they possibly did that. How could you leak this to the press? Now Nolan's pissed, but Olivia's just like, you're the one. Your group is the one who your squad did this. And you know it's unethical. So now I'm going to take action. Baxter says to make the deal. Oh, jeez, now we are skipping around.
Yeah.
This is when Baxter's like, make the deal. Man first, man 1, 10 years. Nolan's like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. Well, unfortunately, Laura isn't taking it.
Yeah, says no.
Olivia says she should have went. She should.
If you don't take the deal, it goes left in the jury's hands. So that's what they're like. You should probably take a plea deal.
Yeah, she said she would take. This is when she. Sorry, guys. I don't know why we're getting confused. It's like two different. Oh, that's
we
because
take notes at the same. What happens is a lot of time we take notes at the same time. But like Callie's TV is maybe like 30 seconds ahead of me. So like she might put something and then I come back and put something. We put the same thing at a different time. So like sometimes our notes look a little funky. We're like, I don't know.
So when she's saying no, the police didn't believe me. No one has ever believed me. That's her testifying. Then the DNA thing gets leaked. Then Baxter's like, have her take a deal. She's like, no, I'll take man 2, 5 years. And that's when
Olivia says she should take man 2.
I'm not taking the deal because do you know how long it took me to get the courage to actually live my life again? Walk in the park, anything.
Yeah.
And no one is starting to understand. Or at least I thought so. Olivia meets him out.
He's like, this is a gracious gift. And
Olivia's like, a gift? Do you have any concept of what this woman has been through? Any concepts? Like, dude, shut up. I'm trying to like you and you're not helping yourself.
You're not going.
So he basically goes on is like, yes, the closing argument. He's like, yes. Laura went
He
through
was not a
something,
good person.
and unfortunately, the justice system failed her. But right now, Tyler Miller is the victim, and he needs justice served for
The
him.
victim, you're not.
We see Olivia like sneak in the back
You're like,
just to watch.
Yeah.
And
no one's
no,
like, yes, he was a stalker. Yes, he was real
and yes, there
creepy.
should be letter laws
Yes,
about this,
he
but
did
there
stalk
aren't.
him.
So she killed
Yes,
him.
yeah,
Found her guilty.
There are no, as long as there's no active threat, I believe it's not a crime.
And then
To
he
stalk
goes on
somebody.
to
Unless
be
you don't
like,
actively plan on.
he goes on to show this little notebook of all the things that Tyler loved about her and all these cute little pictures. And
He
it's
literally
like,
has another thing out. Yeah,
this is
it's kind of weird. It's
this
like,
is when I wanted it to be like, watch her be like, I didn't, he wasn't there. Like, those pictures looked like they were taken from far away.
yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah, like they look like
And
somebody was like,
unfortunately,
just, zooming in.
I forget what he was saying, but he was I basically, like, after the gift conversation and the closing argument, I was like, Nolan, shut up. You sound like a white guy. Stop sounding like a white
well,
guy.
she's guilty. There's nothing else we can do. It's like all we can basically like all we can do is find her guilty because she.
Like,
That's all.
I thought you were starting to understand the horribleness of the situation. Stop acting like a typical white dude. Unfortunately, we don't get
too God for him here.
We don't get Rita.
You don't give us Rita's closing argument, man. I was like, they should have let.
They should have. Still, I will
but
hold on to the
anyway,
fact that she kept saying globally recognized. Well, the jury comes back, and unfortunately, Laura is found guilty, and we don't believe there's any deal. So it's like literally like
10 years. Man won 10 years. No, that was her deal. It probably wasn't even that. It probably is like, probably.
Yeah, we're hoping it's a freaking 10 years, but for all I know,
her
it's probably
plea deal was man won.
And they show her mom crying.
Her plea deal was to take man one, but she did not, so she's probably getting life.
And they show her mom crying, and she's kind of just like quietly walking.
They take her away.
Courtroom. And Olivia's in the back.
They cuff her.
You pissed. Like, Olivia's like,
the mad one. Yeah, she's.
And that's the point. Like, yes, we get it. We talked about this. We get it. She killed somebody, but also, honestly, don't believe rape victims need to be in jail because what they've already went through is pretty much almost worse than jail.
Enough of those horribleness.
Enough of them suffering. So anyway, unfortunately, Laura Kingsbury is in jail, and Olivia goes to stop by Nolan's office, and she's like, "Congratulations, you got what I wanted, I suppose." I'm like, okay, Olivia sounds A, defeated, and B, like she's still mad at him. I'm like, stop it. I want these two to make up. They would be so much better if they are actually working together. Well, and then Nolan says that at least something good came from this, and that the NYPD said that they are no longer going to use the local.
Yeah, that's not allowed. Yeah, no longer no local
DNA. And Baxter's about to do a press conference on it. And Nolan is like,
in the morning, I think.
We'd like you to be there. And Olivia's like, I'll be there. So, even though they were fighting for literally the majority of the freaking episode, I feel like they're starting to mend things now. Mm-hmm. They're starting to kind of see both sides of the thing. Olivia's like, no. And Olivia's realizing maybe it wasn't self-defense, but Nolan is also realizing, wow, this girl went through hell. Maybe we should also consider that. So there's that.
And that's it. That's it.
I get a 5. Actually, 4.5.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
4.5. I'm not thrilled with the verdict.
I don't know about the justice part of this one. Not deal with the justice part of this, but the whole. What are they about?
Like the creepy stalker man is dead and the girl gets in prison. Like,
Yeah.
But give me more of Mariska and Hugh at literally any time. But next time, working together and not freaking fighting, even though them freaking fighting is pure fire for television.
Yeah, literally. We're
All
working
right.
on. We have
Well,
finally
that
figured
was
out a plan, so we've gotten it together. But we'll talk about that.
next. Yeah.
And I
So
think we're writing
I don't remember what exactly the
next week.
situation is. I just remember
It's
the next
called Big Brother.
they're looking at a security footage, and Riley's like, "Shit,
Okay, so yeah,
that's my brother."
it's called Big Brother. It says Riley's personal and professional lives clash when his brother is connected to a murder investigation. Price takes a chance on a witness who can testify on hidden motive.
It's like, "Shit, that's my brother."
His brother was the last person to see this crime, and he's like, "That's my brother." He's like, "What are you involved in this? It's my brother."
Yeah.
And
So
his brother's on the stand, and no one is like angry. And he's like, "You're gonna let a killer walk free?" And it's like, oh,
I mean, okay, angry
screaming
lawyers, like when
angry.
you actually write about something, is freaking chef's kiss.
So your consequences of your silence to let a killer walk free.
I need to know
And
how
that's it.
I need to know how Hugh like does not slip into his actual accent when they're filming.
Yeah, his
Because
actual accent,
how
because
you
that's not his
pretending
actual
that
voice.
he's
It's like
actually British?
that's not his voice.
I
It's
keep
very
saying he's
British. I
British.
forget that too. Until you watch like interviews, and I'm like, that's not what you sound.
No,
He does because
like
that's the American voice he uses for all the shows he's in. So I forget that's not what he actually sounds like. When I first
like
watched him in Hannibal,
behind the scenes things with
and I was
Odelia
like, because he's the main character in Hannibal,
and Odelia's
because
wearing
like it's such a drastic. We talked about this. That like the drastic like the contrast between like Hannibal and being Will Graham and being a lawyer is just like so wild because like Will goes through some crazy shit for real, and he plays it off so good. The acting in that show is just so good, even if you don't like crime, like gory crime, but his acting in it is just so good. But anyway, sorry, I had to go on a side rant about Hannibal.
Okay.
But
So like they've been releasing like little behind the scenes things, and Odelia and Hugh did one the other day, and Odelia was in this really cute pantsuit, and Hugh showed up in like casual clothes, which is such a contrast from his suits' price. I like had to do a double take. But they're talking about like why they think the show is so important, and Odelia's like, I grew up watching it, and then Hugh says something, and I was like, shit, I forgot. You like he literally said something in his British voice, and then he laughed, and I was like, shit, I forgot. That's what you actually sound like. Because his American voice sounds so convincing that, like, if you didn't know, you
we
wouldn't.
talked about this, and we talked about this is you wouldn't know. We talked about this when we talked about 911 one day. We were talking about Oliver Stark played Buck, and how his actual voice is very British.
And I was like, what the hell?
Oliver Stark's
The
whole
thing
time.
is, I knew Hugh Dancy was British because the first thing I ever saw him in was Ella Enchanted with Anne Hathaway, where he used his regular voice. So
even forgetting
seeing the mothership and hearing him talk the first time, I was like, damn, that sounds like a better American accent than I hear most people say that are actually American. Okay, that's a side note. We love them both. It was a great episode. Now, on to part 2 of the Olivia Day. And oh boy, buckle in.
So we're gonna say before we're gonna blanketly put this out. Okay, so before we go into bit of trigger warning for CA in this episode. We can't say what the words are, but you know what C and A are. Big trigger warning for that. That's a lot in this episode. It heavily revolves about that. I'll leave some resources down below, so if you need them, you have them, because this is not a good situation, and this just wasn't good. It was real bad.
We also wrote like a short fic literally after the episode last night. and posted
They
it.
just threw like a little drabble together. It's out now, so you can not listen to it. I guess if you play with a PDF reader or something.
It does have
know,
spoilers, so make sure you watch the episode first before you go read it.
yeah, but it was just a short, like 500-word little drabble we put together.
We were both just like after the episode, we're like, okay, let's do this.
Let's throw something in.
All right, so the episode is called.
So this episode is called Excavation.
And
Excavation.
Both Mariska and I don't know if it's pronounced Amy or Aimee. The actress who plays Curry. Both of them were like, this is probably our favorite episode so far.
This is one of their favorite. This is one of their favorites, and I would agree. Also, when you watch it, you'll be like, I agree. This.
It's like when actors say it's their favorite episode, you know you're in for a good one. So it starts with this.
So at the beginning, this girl, she has her sunglasses on. She walks to the bar.
Walks into a bar, and the bartender's like, sure, am I supposed to give you something? They're like, she's like, I can have one. It's fine. She pours her a tiny. She pours her a tiny shot, and the bartender's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help my." She's like, "I'm helping my mother and stepfather move to a new, like, condo."
They got a condo or something. It's the most small condo.
And her sister,
they're very wealthy, but from how we'll find out.
Maggie, we gotta go, and then we literally see them. This house is like a fucking mansion.
It is a mansion. They're downsizing the
mansion to a damn condo. I'd stay there anyway. Well, Maggie and her sister Peyton are sent downstairs to.
She's like, their mom's like, all your child said, figure out what you want to do with it, you know.
Yeah, they look, and then they find Peyton finds this cute little yellow nightgown. Remember that.
They found some toys, and then they found this yellow nightgown.
It was really cute.
The yellow nightgown.
Something that Maggie wore. And Maggie then finds this drawer, and she tries opening it, and it's kind of stuck, but she pulls it open.
It pulls it, she breaks, and she
finds this journal. And she opens it. She looks at it, and whatever's in there, because they don't say it yet, it's enough to cause her to run out of the room.
Yeah, she runs.
And then we switch to Curry and Olivia talking.
The precinct.
Like, literally, they were literally talking about this creepy man licking a child's foot.
They were like, we got some kind of case. She's like, we got something happened in such a part with this guy. You know, it's really goofy. Like, what is it? Like, what?
First was like,
it's like, what?
His face is like, ew.
Disgusting. Nasty. You're like, who wrote this one line? Like, I got it.
That's when she sees the Maggie standing there, and Maggie's like, I think I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah,
and so she is
talking. Because I think the officer walks her in and it's like, here's the desk sergeant, because Finn is at his desk also.
Yeah. They're talking to Curry. Olivia's reading the entry, and it literally talks about a 8-year-old girl in a yellow nightgown. And they're like, so, and then she's like, I think that's me.
This is about me.
I had the yellow nightgown when I was 8. And they're like, okay, do you know who did this? Like, who wrote this? And she's like, that's my stepfather's handwriting.
Whose book?
It's like, oh, great. Stepfather wrote all about it. What the fuck?
Yeah, he wrote about how he touched her and she didn't react, so that he kept touching her. That's how that isn't even the first. That's the first of many disgusting,
horrible things we hear in this episode.
Things in this notebook, but that's the first thing they say out of this notebook. You're like, no, stop.
Well, they do some research into this family, and they find out, I think, from Carisi.
They ask her who her stepfather is. Yeah,
and they're like,
stepfather. She's Judge Leonard Andrews.
And it's like, shit, he's a judge. Then they find out from Carisi that he's not
He's
just
federal
any
judge,
judge,
retired.
he's retired federal
He's
judge.
federal. The feds, they had high up. The feds are gonna hire up, and they're like, ugh.
And they're like, oh crap. And this is all back from 2001, so it's like just 23 years ago. Like they had to like move quickly because of the statute of limitations. And while Maggie's like, no, I just wanted like to know.
I didn't want all this. I just need to know, like, figure this out in my head.
I don't want to press charges.
Like, go for it.
And she goes on and she's like, I had a drinking problem, which is probably why from the abuse. She can't hold a job, probably from the abuse.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to keep this.
But she doesn't remember the abuse.
Why?
This is why. She's like, I don't know.
Olivia goes to talk to Carisi about it. He's like, you know what this judge usually does? Quail hunts with the former eternal.
Yeah,
quails.
he's taking off. Carisi like just walked in his office. He's taking off his jacket. He's taking off his suit jacket while he's talking.
Suspenders.
He just has some suspenders. He has like a navy suit, and he has the navy suspenders to like go with it. And you're like,
and it's like, do you know what this guy is doing? He goes quail hunting with the former attorney general. Like,
this goes this.
And he's like, you do not.
It goes deep.
You do not whack a guy like Judge Andrews until you have enough to do it in broad daylight.
Yeah.
We
can't just be doing this. We don't got everything.
That her mom is a pediatrician, so it's like if this was the case.
Hold on to that, because that makes this story worse.
Yeah,
it makes it worse.
Hold on to that.
Put it in your back pocket.
Olivia gets a call from Maggie's sister Peyton, and she's like, "I found your card in my sister's pocket. I don't really know what to do." And Maggie's like screaming and tearing apart.
Maggie's screaming and she's throwing to her room, and
well, Olivia shows up, and Maggie is in the fetal position.
She's like, "You need to call 911," but she also goes.
And she's literally in the fetal position in the corner, and like Olivia's like. She's like bleeding, and she's like, "Or what happened?" And she like breaks down. She's like, "I remember now. He was right there," and she points at her bed. He was in my room. He was right there. She points at her bed, and it's like, and Olivia says, "Okay, we are going to get you the help you need." And the family's like, "What's going on? Why are the police here? What's happening?"
Yeah, they thought she's just having an episode when she was drinking too much. They weren't like taking her seriously.
They think it's like a drinking episode because they find out that unfortunately her blood alcohol level is 3 times the legal limit.
She's been really drinking.
And they're like, "Oh, it can't be like the notebook." They're like, "Oh, it can't be Maggie. It didn't have her name.
It can't be about.
But it said stepdaughter."
Of course not. Who would put the name?
Well,
he was 8. It was a yellow name.
Other biological kids.
He only has one stepdaughter.
One stepdaughter. They're
are talking to him, and Olivia's like
tread
lightly.
Tread lightly. This is huge.
And they don't want to be too accusatory and all this other stuff to like make him mad. They're like, do like tread lightly.
The judge and the dad are like, "Nope, we're going home. You guys can talk to my attorneys." And the sister's like,
Curry asked, "Are you aware that your husband kept a journal?"
Yeah,
the mom's attorneys.
Kept a journal. She's like,
attorneys.
Think
about that later. Hold on to that thought. The way she answers the question is, "Did you know he had a journal?" She immediately goes to attorneys. So hold on to that, too. Everything kind of.
Yeah, and then the judge has enough of it and is like, "Nope, we're leaving. We're done. You can talk to my attorneys." And then Peyton is like, "Wait, are we just gonna leave Maggie here?" They do. They literally all just leave.
Yeah, they really did race it.
And then we have Finn Finn walk around the corner, and he's like, "Attorneys? Plural?"
Curry's like, apparently you can have as many as you want. We looked into this for other reasons.
This guy is a rich judge. He would have freaking plural. And Carisi's like,
I'm
yeah.
figure out the lighting because I like look into the lighting to be seen.
Carisi's like, he's not going down.
He's not
with that.
going down without a fight.
Bruno's like, all right, then let's give him one. They talk to Olivia talks to Maggie again, and they're like, honey, how did you remember this again?
How'd you figure this out?
How'd you figure it out? And she's like, I looked at the journal again, and it triggered me to remember a situation my stepdad was standing over me, pulling off my nightgown, the yellow nightgown. And she prefaces this by saying that she's a bedwetter. So the father tried covering up, be like, oh, it's fine, you just wet the bed.
Cool. For a particularly long time, most of the particularly about this is particular also because most of the time children stop at 5, but she was 8, so that's why it was like.
And then she was screaming for her mom, but the stepfather said they didn't want to wake the mother.
You don't want to wake her, and it's like, kind of suspicious.
Then after he left, she went to find her nightgown in the hamper, and she knew
her like sheets and nightgown.
She knew
they weren't
it
wet.
wasn't her fault because they weren't wet. And Olivia's like, do you happen to have the nightgown? She's like, yeah, it's in my trunk. Thank God.
Yeah, because she's fine.
But Carisi's like, even with the technology that we have, it's probably not going to be easy to find DNA from 23.
You're not going to find 20-year version. But we'll get to it. But they figured so. And
then we have Olivia walking in this really pretty blue blazer, talking to Carisi.
She's the twin.
It was very pretty.
Everybody was looking so good this weekend. Yes. Everyone was looking so good last night.
And then all of a sudden, we have Judge Andrews walk in the room.
He walks in.
And
his attorneys, he's
Carisi, and then he looks at Carisi and he's like, have we crossed paths? Carisi tries to make a joke. He's like, they don't usually let lowly ADAs like me in federal court. It's like, sir, you are nothing but lowly.
You got to pop off in this episode, Carisi.
Then they talk to him and his lawyers,
and that his lawyers.
Here's where I was like shocked. He freaking admits that
we lost it here, man. He's like, yeah, I wrote this. I think they make a joke about like, good, I don't need a handwriting analysis because he told me it was you.
Yeah, literally, they did. He's like, great, thanks.
He's like, oh, good. We don't need a handwriting analysis anymore because you just told me it was you.
And then he said he had a drink one night, and then he went to her room, and they want to blame that she was drinking because of her 3 times the limit, and she doesn't know what she's thinking.
Yeah,
they also claim,
she doesn't know what she's thinking.
The defense also claims that it's like prose.
This is outrageous here.
And then someone says, are you familiar with the book Lolita? And Carisi goes,
Hold
on, I lost
That's your defense? That you're writing a novel?
Yeah, that's your defense?
That's your defense that you're writing a novel?
They're like, the actual frick.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to describe. If you can go look it up yourself. You don't know what Lolita is. Look it up on your own terms. Google safe search that. Don't just be looking that up.
Similar to what's going on in this thing, and it's unfortunately a tragic iconic book. Which is why Olivia and Tracy were like, what the fuck? And then Judge continues and is like, look, Counselor Carisi, I know you're a little rough around the edges, but if we continue this, give Nick Baxter. That's like, oh, okay. Now we got mention of Baxter on the mothership. I mean, SVU, which figured because they mentioned McCoy before.
Yeah, they don't.
So it's all connected.
Yeah, because the DA's over all of their courts. They just don't talk about. Keep looking into that light. Oh, I need to figure out lighting because I have that light over here and I keep looking to it. Like,
Olivia goes back to the precinct and she's like, "Please tell me we have something." Oh, I missed it earlier, but before Maggie came in, she's like, "Finn, here's your GD5s that you did not sign." It's like, Okay,
He's like, I gotta get overtime. So getting that overtime.
do your job. But anyway, back
Mhm.
to she's asking her detectives, do we have anything? And we have a miracle because the DNA lab found pre
Was able to get
pre
fluids,
blank
fluids on the night,
pre fluids on the
on
nightgown.
the night,
And
on the
Olivia's
night.
like she's like, then like she's shocked. I was like, yay. So literally,
Yeah, something can go on,
like literally, they have literally everything. The only problem is this happened 23 years ago.
Yeah.
And he like they go to the attorney.
Here for arraignment.
And Crazy's like,
Oh yeah, I forgot that part. He's
go
just
to
like,
arrest him. They aren't having it. And he's like, all right, fine. What is with everybody?
well, cuff me, cuff me.
Like, you know,
like you're a little too willing to do. Okay.
And Crazy goes, Nick Baxter sends his regards. Like, you want to throw my boss in my face?
Oh, we forgot this part. There's a moment. It's a very short moment where before he comes in, Caruso's looking at the picture of Jesse and Billy on his desk.
I didn't
He's
see
kind of
that.
just like
He's like, yeah, like
it's
literally
when he's
this
leaned
case,
over a bit. He's looking at what he's looking at.
this case is
He's like
eating
deep
at him.
in thought.
It's eating at him.
He's very deep
They
in thought
arrest,
about him. Like
they arrest the judge, and he looks at Carisi and he's like, good luck. You're gonna need it. And he does look
oh, is that a threat? Like,
like,
that wasn't me, bro.
this is a federal judge. Then they go to an arraignment.
Literally.
And my first comment was when they showed Judge McNamara, I was like, how is he still here? Like, this
He's
guy's
been
been
like
around
15. The reason why I remember
forever.
distinctly this is because I had just watched the episode with. I had just watched her negotiation. That's why I remember this distinctly, and I said, "Man, it's not going."
Like, he's been around since Lewis. Like, dude, why
Because
is he retired? Why are you still here?
that was like 10 years. Nope. But that was leaving the end of 14. That was the end of 14. So we're at 26. He's been there for 10 years, being like, bro, you need to retire.
The guy's at risk. I forget what the they said. It was
they
bail.
want to give him a high bail and such, make sure he's not getting out here.
And Bruno and Finn are in the peanut gallery, and they see the brother, looking pissed, and the brother leaves the room. So they go to talk to the brother Charles, and they're like, like, we think you know something. He's like, no, I'm not testifying. I'm not testifying against my dad. And Bruno goes, not against your father, for your sister. And he continues and he says, childhood, like, I'm sorry, she's like a mess or whatever. He's like,
if that happens, I can't help you.
Leaves lasting scars, which we know Bruno has a thing with, because he mentioned, I think, something last season that his dad was an asshole, as apparently is almost every single
everyone on this show. Everybody, almost nobody can get anything.
And then they got to talk to Maggie, and they found out that Maggie, oh my good lord, that the judge was physically and verbally abusive to Charles. So it kind of was a thing.
Something was happening here.
It, like, he ain't a good dad. And it shows Olivia is at her apartment with her. Olivia.
Yeah, they're pouring out all of Maggie's alcohol.
All of her wine bottles.
She's got a lot everywhere.
Good.
She's got alcohol everywhere. They're pulling out of cabinets and everything. She has a lot, and they're pouring it all out.
And they're like, how'd you, like, Olivia's like, nice place for
how do you have this money?
A doc for
someone out of job.
Yeah, my stepfather gave me money for this place, and he stopped giving it to me after I got my second DUI.
Go well.
And Olivia's like, okay, you need to remember that. And then she's like, are they gonna try to claim I want money? And Olivia's like, yes, they're gonna try to say that this whole thing is a work of fiction. And Maggie goes, I'm beginning to think my whole childhood was.
And
And then she goes on,
she talks about how she used to
fan,
fantasize about how Olivia's like, that's normal. Victims do this to try to get some sense of control.
and she's like, I probably shouldn't say that in court, though, right? And Olivia's like, you go in there and tell him who you are. And wait, did they make it clear what age was it? Like, excuse me, like when she's like a teenager, or was this one she's like 8?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, anyway,
It's not real clear. How long
that.
the abuse went on either isn't clear. What did happen?
So trial starts. Olivia was literally reading the entry about his stepdaughter in the yellow nightgown.
Yeah.
And literally can't give the journal back to Carisi fast enough. She does not want to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sister,
she has it further back. I think so they didn't have her wear her reading glasses. I think she just couldn't, like, she has it further back because she can't actually see.
No,
she doesn't have her reading glasses on.
I don't want to look at this.
It's probably that, and she also doesn't have her reading glasses on either.
She probably had it
probably
memorized.
why she also has the paper back here. Yeah, she probably had it memorized for like line purposes, but like she probably just couldn't see it.
You see the sister.
Payne testifies.
She we think she saw something, and then she looks at her dad, and then she kind of shuts down.
Kind of starts to not sure anymore.
And then Olivia is like, "How'd Peyton do?" And Olivia literally goes right around that, and she's like, "Mr. Creasy is building a really strong case. We're not gonna acknowledge what your sister did or did not do. Just focus on that." And Olivia continues, and she says, "If you can't look at the jury, look at me. The rest is just noise." Well, she testifies. Creasy does really well with questioning her. Then the defense attorney comes up, and of course he had
how do you check? How do you remember?
A male and a female defense attorney.
Yeah.
And
the woman ends up asking her these questions.
Female one is the one who freaking mentioned Lolita.
The woman.
And the male is the one who's cross-examining Maggie, because of course. And he's like, "How do you expect us to believe all this from 23 years ago?" And she breaks down. She's crying. She's like, "My body remembers. Like, her body remembers this trauma." Yeah. She read the journal, and it basically triggered her into having such a huge panic attack that her only outlet was to drink, but she knows what what happened to her. She steps down, and Maggie looks like devastated as she's trying to step down. She walks right past her dad and the stepdad, and he goes, "Maggie."
He calls her name.
Like, "Hello."
That's all. I was like, "Stop."
He's trying to talk to her. She flinches. She leaves. Carice's like, "You can't. Hello." He can't talk to her. Then we get him, Judge Andrews testifying, and okay, this literally like, let's see what you're going to say. He claims he wrote.
What are you to tell us?
He claims he wrote the stuff because when he was back as a defense attorney, he saw all this stuff, and he needed to write it down. And
as a creative outlet, essentially.
Really use it as like a creative outlet, and he always said like he would help his daughter, like, change and stuff. That's what he claimed he was doing. And then Carisi made a very clear point. If it's about other cases you've seen, then why did you only write about what happened with Maggie? Why did you only write about your stepdaughter?
He's like, you never actually wrote a book or a chapter or a page.
Or a page of any of
You
his
like
other
this.
books, just the journal. And he's like trying to claim like it came from his real life, and Creasy's like, well,
He was like, it was just a little.
Your cases are your real life too, so where's that? It's literally just
Exactly. Where's your drafts? Where's your anything?
And he's like, did you confide in anybody? And he's like, my wife. It's like, great. Now the wife has to testify.
They argue about is this fine. The judge makes let's see, you know.
Yeah, she like goes on to say that apparently he really was going to be a writer. Then he became a lawyer.
He majored in college. And,
yeah, literally double major, English lit, law, whatever. She sees the journal. The mom saw the journal, and she goes on to say that her daughter wet the bed a lot. And I'm not sure if she kept. This is a line that the mom
kept. He was worried about like she kept like saying like she wet the bed a lot. She wasn't sure why. Did she need like some medication or like she kind of makes up the reason why her daughter was
Maggie,
but not
Maggie's mother kept repeating this one line throughout the episode, and she continued. She never called like Maggie her daughter. She's like, Maggie wasn't my patient. What?
Like Maggie's your child. She's not a patient. You shouldn't be.
We then see Charles leave angrily, and Bruno and Finn go to talk to him again, and he's like, "My mom just lied up there." He says that he saw his dad leaving Maggie's room that night, but his mom said that he was only dreaming. And this is what I think is
he saw him.
Pretty poignant. He's like, even at 4, I knew something was wrong.
Like, you know, my dad should not be in my sister's room at night.
Yeah, like I might be 4 years old, but I know something's wrong. And then basically we were like, okay, how the frick does the mom not do anything? How does the
mom not do?
Well, they dig further, and we find out that because she once again says Maggie wasn't my patient, and then they do digging, and then they find out that yes, she actually was.
She did have some evidence of physical abuse.
She had chafing on her parts from the abuse, and her mom knew that.
Yeah, and they're like, exactly. They're like, so why didn't you do anything? Really?
Get I swear to God, the most badass Olivia Carisi scene we've seen.
Carisi was not Carisi.
They were pissed.
Yeah, because he was not having it. Carisi was like, she can either answer in the
officer on the witness stand. And the defense attorney for the mom was like, "Oh, she'll figure. She was just trying to help her family." And Olivia goes, "By sacrificing her firstborn?" Like, literally.
I forgot to put it in there because like this is the second time her mom had been Maggie's actual father had left, and you know they didn't have any money, so it was like her being with this judge, you know, kind of gave them a stable financial future.
Literally, this is her biological child, and she's like, and then she goes
she's whatever
to say it wasn't her husband's fault. Maggie always needed attention, and literally, she called her 8-year-old daughter promiscuous.
But she's 8.
She's 8, lady.
8. This is most
the wife said basically, write it down, and wouldn't leave him for it. And she said if she ever saw it again, then she would call the police. So she basically was like, use the writing.
You should call the police the first time.
Don't freaking touch my daughter again. But then Olivia's like,
I'm gonna call the police the first time. There wouldn't have been no second chance.
Call the police the first time. And she's like, oh, he promised to never be unfaithful again. And Olivia blows a gasket. She goes, unfaithful. You're talking about your 8-year-old daughter. Your daughter.
Yeah, it's like You're a child. Literally, this is a child. This is real
Mom
messed up.
is literally the worst mom
Yeah.
ever.
I'm like, bro,
And
no.
Olivia's like, does he even know you're here? And her phone is ringing. And she's like, of course we do. We tell each other everything. I'm like, lady. She goes
Obviously
on,
not, because he just
like,
called. That's where you at.
it literally goes on to be like, I didn't want to be alone. And Olivia's like, okay, so you chose that over your daughter. What the hell?
Literally.
And is if that isn't already sickening enough, we get more.
Yeah.
And we get Carisi going.
Carisi's talking to Judge Andrews, and they're
And
in
he's
the
like,
courthouse.
yeah, we're due back.
And they're
in
looking
court.
at Lady Justice initially. Their conversation used to start with them looking at Lady Justice, who's in the like hall, not the hallway, the like big
And
open
he's
spot
like,
in the middle of the courthouse.
he's like, Carisi, do you know what's it says out front? And he says, the true administration of justice.
The true administration of justice is the firmest pillar of good government.
And he goes on to kind of admit, he's like, I made a mistake. I made one mistake. One. And Carisi's like,
You're like,
that's not a mistake.
you know.
And he continues to
then
go
yet
on.
you preyed on your daughter.
Your daughter. And then we get probably the grossest shit I've ever heard on this show. He literally stops, looks up at the justice, and a little smile appears on his face. And he goes, I guess I wanted to know how it felt. And Carisi's like,
how it felt.
And the dad says, innocence. With a little smile on his face. And Carisi looks like he's about to be sick.
Wait up.
Now, a lot of people, I'm gonna make a comment. A lot of people were like, this is when he should have mentioned his stepdaughters. It's like, no, he didn't have to. The look on Peter's face.
The man did not need to know about his life. He's not entitled to his life.
The expression on Carisi's face literally said it all. That man looked sick.
Yeah, he didn't even mean to say.
I swear I thought he was going to slap him. And I wrote a tweet. Somebody put, her name is Paula or Electric Toes on Twitter. And she says, the way Carisi was 100% thinking about his own children and the way the victim was Jesse's age, the look on his face broke me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
It literally is. You're just like.
And it says, I'm trying to, there was another one that I found from last night that was like really good.
I don't know. You gotta be putting stuff in the doc when you think of it because you lose it.
Oh, I found the face.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot. It's just like you could see this just
his disgust and his like shock that he's like, this guy
thinks
he didn't do anything
said that
wrong.
about you.
He's like, this guy thinks he's gonna this guy thinks he's gonna get any sympathy from me.
Exactly. He didn't get any sympathy.
And then as he walks away, he just looks heartbroken.
Yeah. Then the last scene is in Olivia's office.
No,
they don't show the verdict on the screen.
Her name is Gina Butterfly, and they said there is no need for explicit words when the acting was so clearly telling Carisi's story. Fabulous episode. And I was like, yeah, his face said it all.
He didn't even say anything. It didn't want.
Bravo, Peter.
Yeah,
again,
really
finally giving us good Carisi stuff. Hooray! But yeah.
So
literally,
they go to Olivia's office.
He has to stand there and sit there, and the guy's like, "Oh, I just wanted to know what innocence felt like." Dude, you are getting no sympathy from me.
No. None.
Carisi looks like he's going to be sick, and the whole time I was like, "Yeah, no, he's actually saying he wanted this." Ew. Bad man. Very bad man. Well, he continued the final scene is
they go to Olivia's office.
And we find out that he pled guilty. 7 years on each count
for
concurrently.
7 years on each out. Because there's more in this notebook than they show. So he's obviously done it more than once. So that's why it's saying
They only
concurrently.
talked about one time, but
He's in there probably the rest of his life.
that big.
It's a notebook, so he's in there a long time. The rest of his life, probably. He's not getting out. Probably. At his age, he's probably never getting out.
He ruined his stepdaughter's life just because he wanted, for his own personal disgusting reasons, to feel what innocence felt like.
That is literally disgusting.
Ew.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
Carisi says that like the wife is not going to be charged because
Olivia's like, are we charging the wife?
Very much illicit in this.
And Carisi's like,
the statute's run out.
I know, but do you know how it was hurting?
She's just as guilty of this.
Like, look, I know it was, but it was already hard for me to be able to charge the judge. Me trying to get the wife charged, and with the statute of limitations, it wasn't going to be messy. But then, in case you're thinking, oh no, the mom's going to get away with it. No, she does not. Because then Olivia goes on to say, she's never going to practice medicine again. She is now jobless.
Yep, I guess you can't afford that house now, but you know what?
Should be in jail for literally letting her husband do this to his daughter and write it down. Do this to her daughter, write it down, and pretend it's nothing. Yeah. She should be in jail. But her losing her entire livelihood works too. And then Creasy's like, how's Maggie doing? And Olivia tells her. And Creasy's like, I guess that's the power of truth. And Olivia's like, I guess we're getting philosophical in our old age, huh? And then he goes, good night.
And they kind of laugh, and that's the
good night, counselor. And
that's it.
This episode gets 5 stars.
I like this one. This is a 5-star.
Angry. I don't trust me. I didn't like the whole.
It's justice for the most part,
but it was just disturbing enough. It was like, this is why we have SVU episodes. But the excitement isn't over yet.
This kind of thing, unfortunately, happens to children all the time.
Unfortunately. Which is why we're going to leave resources in the bottom. If you ever need to look at them, if you ever need to talk to anybody, they will be there for you.
Yeah, please know you're not alone. People will help.
And to any of our listeners if you have gone through this, first off, I am so sorry. Second, you are more than what they did to you. There's that.
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy episode, but it was a good episode nonetheless. But next week.
And then we get the promo that we've been waiting for. Because for some reason they decided to.
Because we thought it was going to be week after next. They switched the order. It was supposed to be week after next, and they moved it up this week.
I'm not complaining. I'm happy.
You're not complaining, though. We were like, what?
And it literally
26-3.
It shows that there's this group of criminals who are literally
called divide and conquer is what it is.
They're doing robberies and
robberies
and sexual assaults by gunpoints, and there's a lot of them, and they have giant guns. So
yeah, they kind of
that's when
armed robbery.
And she's like, yeah, this is literally a group.
She gets out the car. She gets it's what we've been doing.
And we have a glimpse in the promo clip of Olivia calling her sergeant.
Yeah. She says, "Ready, divide and conquer." Olivia says, "Divide and conquer," and that's the end. So I guess we're divide and conquer.
And we see a glimpse of Amanda. We see a glimpse of Amanda's new partner, and I'm excited to find out some more about him, honestly. And see how, him as an individual, but also how he works with Amanda.
So basically, I said, "Oh, why did that
And it
break?"
literally
Hello.
just says
In the
yes.
episode, a couple's dinner party ends with a violent home invasion and assault by masked men. Rollins suspects that. Can this website stop loading ads so I can read? Um, I lost my spot. Okay. Um, Rollins suspects the crime is linked to her intelligence investigation of an international gang of thieves. There it goes. All right. Like ads kept popping up, so I was losing my spot.
And it literally said like on the thing,
Um,
special guest star Kelly Giddish, and it's like,
um,
yes, as it should.
yeah. There's an
Well,
article about it, and Kelly says Rollins
actually,
loves her new job. She says it like she's getting to eat. She feels like she's getting to eavesdrop on the whole world, and I
but she
feel like she's
loves
really happy, and she's fun to play that version of Rollins.
and it's fun because we always freaking write in our fics that Amanda is nosy as fuck. And now it's proof.
Or she's good. She's know about everybody. She I know everything.
She knows
So we're very
everything.
excited about that.
It's I mean, I shouldn't say special guest star. She should be there every week, but I guess if this is what we get, I'll take it because
We're gonna be happy about it because they're already filming her episode. Her
yeah.
next episode, they're filming. They were filming it, so we'll see. They were filming her last episode, her episode a couple nights ago. So we'll see her. So I think they were filming 7 already. So there's not that much of a time in between. It's like 3, and then it's like 8 or 7.
Right.
So it won't be too much of a wait in
They
between.
said they were giving us like I don't know, like 5 or at least a handful of episodes with Rollins in it.
And I gave them, they have a little gap. I think.
Sally's like, oh, so you don't get sick of me, ma'am. We will never get sick of you and want you on our screen every single week.
Yeah. So,
but
now that'll be fun.
Kelly with her new husband and her new baby and her boys, like this is a good way for her to both be on the show,
have a job, but not having too much,
and have her family balance,
and have a job, and be a time with her family. So,
and also for a way for Mariska to be like, "F you, Dick Wolf. I brought her back.
Did it.
Welcome, everybody." I'm literally my favorite Instagram post is that Mariska has posted. It's a picture of Mariska.
She goes, "You're welcome,"
hugging, and the caption is literally, "You're welcome. Thank you." Yeah. Mariska gets what she wants. It might take time, but Mariska gets what she wants.
Yep.
All right.
I think the last thing we should probably say is happy National Coming Out Day as the day we're recording this.
People.
So regardless if you are out or not, you are loved.
You are loved, you are valid,
cared for.
And we appreciate you.
Yeah, so much love to all of you. Whether you have an awesome day. Go buy yourself a treat. Have a nice day.
Eat some cake. Have some candy. Treat yourself.
Enjoy. Have a good day. Celebrate being the wonderful you that you are.
Yes, I love that. Also, we got new Raoul photos last night, so
we did.
Go look at those too.
Go look at it. Enjoy those too. You know. Yep. That's all we got for real. Because my mom's going to show.
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, thanks for listening, guys. That was these weeks.
Thanks for listening.
This week's episodes. Found was awesome too, but we're not going to talk about that here. But it was really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to do a show on YouTube about Found, we'll do it. But you got to let us know for real.
You got to tell us. With that being said, we're gonna go right now. Thanks for watching and listening.
Yeah. We have some ideas.
And until next time on the
We'll see you all next week. Oh yeah, go check out our new YouTube video about Am I the A-hole? It's on Reddit. It's not on Reddit. It's about Reddit. You can go watch it now on. It's not called that. It's called Special Interest Unit. Go watch it.
And until next time on the Truth Runs Deep. Bye-bye.
Bye.